Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Between now and August 10th, if you use this promo code, you will automatically be entered into a drawing where 4 winners will each win one of the Commander 2018 pre-constructed decks. See the description below for more details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and today is the 4th day of official Commander 2018 previews. Most of the card reveals today come from that last deck that we haven't learned a whole lot about until now, and that is the Esper Subjective Reality deck. We do know a big theme of this deck is whatever is on top of your library is going to matter, and you're going to see that in a lot of the cards today. There's some other sub-themes too, and you'll notice that as we make our way through. Now, quickly before we get started, a reminder, we are running that promotion with Flipside Gaming. All the details are in the description below, and you can find out how maybe you could win one of these Commander 2018 decks when they come out on August 10th. Also, there's a link to our Patreon page down there, as well as links to products on Amazon. These are all ways to help support the channel if you're so inclined, but even if you're not, that's okay. I just appreciate you watching, and your viewership is more than enough for me. So thank you, and let's get into it. We're going to start off with some of the cards that we previously talked about due to leaks. Now, starting on Monday, we got a product shot of the front of the box of this particular deck, which was leaked, so we already know about this card. This is Aminato, the Fate Shifter. In just a few moments, we're going to look at the cards that we saw on the back of the box. But we talked about this one on Monday, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. And if you want to hear my full thoughts on this card, just check out Monday's video. But I will say this, very cool card for just 3 mana. It does a whole lot, and I do like that about it. Okay, let's look at the cards that were previously spoiled yesterday, because we got a product shot of the back of the product, and these 3 cards happen to be on it. So again, if you want to hear my full thoughts on these cards, just check out yesterday's video. I'll link it at the end here. We have Entreat the Dead, Skullstorm, and finally Verena Lich Queen. We got to see a German language preview of the card today. On the left is the leak we had yesterday, so you can check out the translation. But this is going to come in foil along with the Planeswalker, and out of the box, if you choose to make this your commander, you can. Now let's move on to some new cards we have not seen or talked about yet. Boreas Charger, a white and 2 Pegasus rare 2/1 with flying. When this leaves the battlefield, choose an opponent who controls more lands than you. Search your library for a number of Plains cards equal to the difference and reveal them. Put one of them onto the battlefield, tapped, and the rest into your hand, then shuffle your library. Not a lot to say about this one. It's a cheap way to ramp, and it is a little conditional, but as long as you can meet that condition, then you're going to be all set here. This also has to leave the battlefield. Now, again, it is leave the battlefield, so you can manipulate that a little bit, which is kind of nice. It does only fetch you planes, so it's not for all decks, but it's fine if you have a lot of planes. This might be fun with Brago King Eternal. Loyal Unicorn, a white and 3 unicorn uncommon 3/4 with vigilance. This has Lieutenant. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to creatures you control this turn. Other creatures you control gain vigilance until end of turn. Wow, there's a lot going on here for 4 mana. First, you look at this card, you see, okay, white and 3, it's a cute little unicorn, is this going to be all that powerful? And then you read the text and you're like, wow, yeah, this is very powerful. As long as I have my commander in play, it's basically like free attacks for everybody. All my creatures have vigilance, they're not going to take the damage in combat. This is kind of amazing. Now, if I don't have my commander in play, this is a 3/4 for 4 with vigilance, not very exciting. But whenever I do, it really unlocks a lot of power, especially if I have an aggressive deck, maybe a Boros build or a Selesnya token deck that's going wide, or even just a mono white deck with a lot of small creatures. Like, there's going to be a lot of commander decks that will want to run this. Magus of the Balance. This is a white and 1 human wizard rare 2/2. Pay a white and 4, tap and sacrifice. Each player chooses a number of lands they control equal to the number of lands controlled by the player who controls the fewest, then sacrifices the rest. Players discard cards and sacrifice creatures the same way. Yes, this is the classic spell balance attached to a creature, and that's what these Magus creatures do. They take powerful spells from throughout Magic's history, and they weaken them a little bit because they're attached to the creature, so they have a vulnerability, and also you have to wait until the creature doesn't have summoning sickness to be able to use it. So that does change the spell quite a bit. Now, Balance has been so powerful that, as a matter of fact, it is banned in Commander. So will this be banned? Well, I guess time will tell, but this isn't as strong as Balance just right out of your hand. You have to play this, unless you have a way to give it haste or something, you have to wait until it doesn't have summoning sickness before you can even decide to do it. And so all that time you're waiting, someone could blow it up, it's only 2 toughness. So yes, there are ways around that. There are ways to protect it, but you're going to have to jump through a few hoops. You just don't get to balance right out of the gates, and that makes a big, big difference. So yes, this is going to be a lightning rod when you put it out on the battlefield. If there's anyone that does not want to balance, they're going to try everything they can to stop it until it gets back to your turn. Now, with all that being said, this is a very powerful mechanic, especially if your deck is really built around it. Aminato's Augury. 2 blue and 6, it's a sorcery rare. Exile the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Until end of turn, for each non-land card, you may cast a card of that type from among the exiled cards without paying the mana cost. Okay, so you go 8 cards deep, that's actually pretty good. You're seeing a lot of cards. I would imagine most of the time you're going to hit a land there. And then from that point forward, it is a little high variance. I mean, you did spend 8 for this, so you want something to come out on the battlefield that's going to be worth your time and your mana, right? So hopefully you hit maybe 2, 3 different card types and you get some things that actually have some consequence. But that's not necessarily guaranteed. In Commander, there are some big plays, some big spells. There's a good chance you might hit one of those. If you don't and you feel like you kind of wasted your 8 mana, it's not going to feel good. However, remember, the idea behind this deck is also that you can set up what's on top of your deck. Now, unfortunately, we haven't seen enough cards yet to know how consistent that's going to be out of the box, but maybe with some upgrades, this card gets even better. I actually like it. I do think most of the time you're going to find something that feels worthwhile when you cast it. Maybe not all the time, but I think most of the time. Primordial Mist. This costs a blue and 4. It's an enchantment rare. At the beginning of your end step, you may manifest the top card of your library. Exile a face-down permanent you control face-up. You may play that card this turn. So that's kind of nice because if you manifest something like an instant or sorcery, now you get another crack at it, and I think that's a pretty good idea. Because that's the big downside, of course, to manifest. I do enjoy cards that let you populate out your board state, and this does that, and it actually happens at end of turn, so you don't feel like you're paying 5 for the enchantment and then it's doing nothing for a while. At least right at the end of the turn, you get something out of it. So this is fine, especially if you want to go wide. At least now this card's going to help you out if you don't hit a creature when you manifest. Knight Incarnate. This is a black and 4, creature elemental, rare, 3/4 with Death Touch. When this leaves the battlefield, all creatures get -3/-3 till end of turn, and it has an evoke cost of a black and 3. If you don't remember evoke, basically, you can play the card for the evoke cost, but when it enters battlefield, you have to sacrifice it. So in other words, you get the ability, but you don't get to keep the creature, and that's good if you're stuck on mana and you're getting beat down or something like that. You can just simply evoke a turn earlier or so. Now, those base stats aren't super impressive. 3/4 Death Touch for 5. There's a lot of things you could be probably doing better for 5 on paper. But then staple on that evoke and the fact that the ability triggers when this leaves the battlefield, and this all of a sudden becomes a pretty good card. I like that I can bounce this and exploit that trigger a little bit, or if I play it out on the battlefield and opponents don't want the -3/-3 to happen, it does get them to lay off me a little bit at least, because they can't get around this with like an exile effect or something like that. And I really like that wording. They've been using this a lot in the product. Leaves the battlefield. That makes a big difference as opposed to goes to the graveyard or dies. Makes the cards much better. So yeah, overall, I would enjoy running this. I think this is a very solid 5-drop. Sower of Discord. Okay, this card's actually pretty sweet. 2 black and 4. It's a demon rare 6/6 with flying. When this enters the battlefield, choose 2 players. Whenever damage is dealt to one of the chosen players, the other chosen player also loses that much life. Alright, so you kind of tie the life totals of 2 people together, and you could do a couple different things with this. I mean, you could use this on 2 opponents, and then try to take them both out at once. You could tie this to an opponent and to yourself, so that way if you think they're going to finish you off, then they may want to think twice about that. I like this. I mean, there's times where this could help you end a game, but there's other times where it's more defensive. That's kind of awesome. Genesis Storm. Okay, I want to point out, this card was actually revealed late yesterday. So yesterday they were more focused on the Bant Enchantment Matters deck, and that's probably where you'll find this card. Of course, it won't be in the Esper deck, being green. 2 green and 4, sorcery, rare. When you cast the spell, copy it for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land permanent card. You may put that card onto the battlefield, then put all cards revealed this way that weren't put onto the battlefield on the bottom of your library in a random order. First, I have to say this. Yesterday, we saw the green card that trolled us a little bit and made us think that maybe that was going to be the entry for the Storm cycle for green. Well, today we get the actual entry, and yes, this is truly one of the Storm cards, and it's very sweet. Much like all the others that we looked at throughout the week, this is okay early. It's maybe not the best play if you haven't played your commander yet, But once you played your commander once or twice, it gets better. By the end of the game, this thing can be extremely powerful, and I love this design. This is really smart design. This whole cycle has been phenomenal. This one, no exception. So if I do play this, and for some reason I haven't cast my commander, okay, I move through my deck a little bit, find my next non-land permanent, and I'm kind of hoping it's big enough to warrant the casting cost, and if it's not, I might not feel great about it. But again, if I get 2 triggers, all of a sudden the odds of getting good stuff that equals 6 mana is a lot better, and 3 triggers even more so, so on and so forth. This could help you put away a game. It just gets better and better as the game goes on. I just love the design of this whole cycle. It is brilliant. Alright, maybe my favorite card of the day here. Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow. This is a black-blue and 1. It's a legendary creature, human ninja, 1/3, rare. Commander Ninjutsu. And yes, it says Commander Ninjutsu, because not just regular ninjutsu would cut it here. A black and blue to trigger this. Return an unblocked attacker you control to hand. Put that card onto the battlefield from your hand or the command zone tapped and attacking. So yes, if you use this ability, it does get around commander attacks. That's kind of cool. Whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's converted mana cost. Wow, okay, it's real cheap. It only costs 3. The ability only costs 2, which is phenomenal. So when you attack in, even though this is a small creature being 1/3, it's not about those stats. It's about making sure you create situations where an opponent can't block something and then swapping this out and being able to kind of get everybody at the table. Worst case scenario, you draw a card when that happens. Best case scenario, you hit a big spell and create a lot of damage across the board. That's kind of awesome. Now, yes, this is a strategy that's going to impact everybody at the same time. Sometimes that's bad for your health in a game of Commander, but especially as the game wears on and you can defend yourself a little bit, you don't have to worry too much, and so you're going to get so much card advantage over time. The best thing you can probably do with this, though, is have a sack outlet to get it back into your command zone so that you can do this repeatedly throughout the game. That's where it's going to be most powerful. It's just too bad that you can't make this your commander out of the box, but this makes me really want to build a ninja commander deck now. I talked about the ability as it relates to just having this card available, but could you imagine if you could hit with 2 or 3 ninjas at once? Fantastic card, fantastic ability. I really like this one a lot. Yennett's Cryptic Sovereign. Okay, now this is one of those mythic rare legendary creatures, and it's new, so you know what that means. This will come in foil, and out of the box, this could be your commander if you chose to. Esper colors in 2, 3/5, legendary creature Sphinx, flying, vigilance, menace. Whenever this attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If that card's converted mana cost is odd, you may cast it without paying its mana cost, otherwise draw a card. So when I saw this card, the first thing I thought of is commander for a deck that has all odd casting cost things in it. That could be really fun, and I kind of want to try that out. Now, we don't have the full deck list, so we don't know like the ratio of odd to even in the deck that this actually comes in, but I'm sure there's going to be enough opportunities to exploit this. 3/5 flying, vigilance, and menace. It's not huge monster stats, but you know what? Those stats do make it easier to attack in pretty frequently and not have to worry about this thing being blocked and destroyed. I like that a whole lot. The more you can trigger this, the more fun it's going to be. Really awesome design here as well. Alright, it's time to speed round through some reprints. We got a lot of them, starting with Vanishing Stroke. Of course, this is going to make sense in that Esper deck. It's another miracle. We saw in Treat the Dead a little bit ago. Miracles would definitely play a role in that deck. Sara Avatar is back again. This is another card that will probably work best in the Esper deck. You can kind of set it up a little bit, and there's some cards that we've seen, and at least one more we're going to see that work well with it. Terminus, of course, another card that has Miracle, no surprise here. Brainstorm, well, here's one of the ways now you can set up that deck. Clod Form, now this is the card I was alluding to a moment ago that's going to work well with Sara Avatar. But again, if you know what's on top of your deck and it's a good creature, well, Clod Form gets that much better. Muldrifter, another Evoke card. That's actually pretty sweet. Muldrifter is awesome. Fantastic reprint. Always like to see this. Great commander card, great cube card. Portent. This was revealed earlier as a Spanish language preview. It's got brand new art. This has not been printed in a really long time. Another way to help set up that deck. And even though it's not an expensive card, like most of the cards we're looking at today are easily under $3 with a few exceptions, this one does see some legacy as well as pauper play. Predict. Now this one is about a $3 card, or maybe a little more than that. It's never been reprinted. That original version is from Odyssey, so it's a nice inclusion here. I love that original art they kept. Phyrexian Delver. We know the Esper deck does have a Reanimation Zombie sub-theme, so this works into that. Ether Mage's Touch, another card that makes sense if you care about what's on top of your deck. If you can set this up, this can be a big play on someone else's turn. Silent Blade Oni, another ninja, and I'm happy to see this, not only because I like ninjas a lot, but also this is not the cheapest card. I mean, if you want one of the older versions, either one will run you close to $4. Commander Sphere, always good to see these, and we're going to look at some artifacts and lands now, and they could show up maybe in more than one deck, of course. This one could possibly be in many of them. Crystal Ball, now this one is a little more focused on that Esper deck to help you set it up. Soul Ring is back again, and you know what, even though they reprint this all the time in these products, I'm glad that they do, because even with all the printings, these things still run about $3.50, $4 from the Commander products, so it's a good thing that we keep getting them. Switchfoot Boots, another classic Commander card, good to see here. This will definitely work out well in that Izzet deck, no doubt. Command Tower back again as well. I think it's always important to keep these in circulation too. Mountain Valley. So yes, you're going to see some of the comes into play tapped fetch lands. Now I know those aren't as sought after as the ones that don't come into play tapped, but this is going to be really good in the Jund deck, no doubt. Marianne Landscape, another card that makes sense for Jund. Rocky Tar Pit, another one of these lands that will be great in Jund. And they also showed us all the tokens. I'll leave this up for just a moment. You can pause the video if you want to get a closer look. There's some cool ones in here. A couple things to point out. That Survivor token looks really awesome. There is a black and green Worm token up there, so even though it hasn't been officially previewed, I think it's pretty safe to say that Worm Harvest is going to be in the Jund deck. Also, I see a Clue token down there, so we can speculate what might be creating that. And that's what we got for right now. So I'm assuming tomorrow we're going to get full deck lists, and we'll begin videos looking at those deck lists and deep diving into everything over the course of this coming week. Saturday, we're still going to do our market watch, so check that out. But until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.